So there's this competition called Solo Dev Game Jam. If you don't know what a game jam is a competition in which you have a set amount of time to create a game based around a certain theme or limitation. This edition of Solo Dev Game Jam gave me 3 days to make a game around the theme 2 controls. I came up with the idea of a platformer, where each level is contained within a square box. The player is a ball, and you can tilt the box using your mouse buttons to make the ball roll into the end goal. Simple enough, right? Now, look at how much more complicated I made it for myself. Good game dev practice is making the prototype of the game prior to creating or finding any art for it. So, obviously, I started with finding some art for the game. I found this cool asset pack, which I have seen before in another really neat and fun platformer. Check it out with a friend or significant other. Either way, I downloaded the asset pack from my project and started to work. Good game dev practice tells you to start from designing the game core features prior to making any maps, art, etc. So I have started from spending half an hour designing the frame of the levels I will have in my game. Now that I've broken every single rule of good game development, I was satisfied enough to start doing sensible things. I had created a simple character, and after obviously no mistakes because I am an incredibly skilled game developer, I made this. Pretty boring so far, but have some patience, will you? Now, instead of being smart and following good game dev practice, I went back into working with art. I found a pretty fun online which I thought would work perfectly, so I yoinked it into the project. It took me quite a while to get a nice coloristic for it, good outlines, shadows, settings, yada yada, but I think it fits just right. Now, you see those beautiful particles I use for the end goal of each level? They come from my indie game On the Wind's Breath. On the Wind's Breath is an unconventional indie platformer where you use wind to guide a seed to fertile soil where it can grow into a beautiful flower, just so wind can blow on the flower to repeat the seemingly endless cycle. Now, remember that the game was still boring as hell? I fixed it by adding some speed, so look at those pretty dash blocks, which, to my surprise, worked on the first try. I had to double check if I really had not messed up, and I think I didn't. The next fun part was adding a way for the player to die. And while we're talking about dyings, let's look at my morals and personal values died through this segue to our affiliate. Unity Asset Store, your go-to platform for purchasing Unity assets like art, models, and tools. There's a huge sale right now where you can get asset bundles for 95% off and even more assets at 50% off. If you wanna support me, click my link from down in the description below. It doesn't cost you anything and it helps me out a ton. Now that my soul has been sold to a mindless corporation for just a couple bucks, we can get back to the video. I still had a feeling that the levels of the game were lacking, so in the common sense of making any platformer, I went with adding some moving platforms, which, as you already know me, worked perfectly on the first try. Also, look at this little guy. He's so adorable, he's so perfect. Yeah, that's our new player character. The game had pretty fun base principles, but it still lacked polish. So, I added the Dotwing package to Unity to create some smooth animations like this one, which I use for the player reaching the end goal of a level. Remember how I said that the dash blocks worked first try? Yeah, no. No, they didn't. No. Look at this shit. This yellow line displays the direction in which the player is pushed by the block. So, it works in some very select few cases. Time to fix it. The error was simply a miscalculation with some vector math, and all I needed to do was add, my bad, subtract 45 degrees from my angle. Now that that's out of the way, I wanted to make it so the levels reset fully if you die. That includes every single moving object. I created a callback to the object script, so when the player dies, the object data will be reset to its initial state, which honestly wasn't difficult, and this time actually worked on the first try. Next thing I wanted to add is platforms that slowly fall when the player lands on them. One of my favorite things in game dev is making hitboxes, so just look how satisfying this is. Either way, I reused a part of the code for the moving platforms, and making the falling ones was pretty straightforward. Now, most game jam games have some kind of a leaderboard because of the fact they're really short and easy to speedrun. So I decided to add one myself as well. I used the cool project called Leaderboard Creator, which I'll link in the description below. It allowed me to effortlessly add a leaderboard with the support for live updates. Now, here comes the realization that I do not keep track of the player's time, which means I have no stats to save into the database, so after a quick intermission, we've got a timer in the top left corner of our screen. Now, the thing I've been putting off for a while, audio. Audio is not my strong suit. Anything but that. I still managed to quickly put something together using sound effect databases and JSFXR, and I'm actually satisfied with how it came out. Now, all that's left is making more levels, fixing errors, bugs, funny bugs, and overall polishing the project. I created the final level, some confetti, little happy guy, and an endgame screen, and wait, I finished with time to spare? Wow, that last time I had about 4 minutes left and I was screaming at my computer to finish fucking compiling. Fascinating. Anyway, that would be it, and I got the 25th place, which I'm pretty satisfied with. I'm really happy with what I made, and honestly, this is one of my better Game Jam projects. Now, that would be it for this one. I'll leave the link to all the tools in the game in the description below if you want to try it. Thank you for making it this far. If you've enjoyed, make sure to do your magic down below, and see you in the next one.